Super Saiyan, Super Duper God, or whatever it is, right?
Okay.
And then that's why you can't leave one open.
Okay.
Because if you leave Aatrox open and Nocturne, like, let's trade, it's not a trade. Aatrox is just too good.
Just if Aatrox is in the game, somebody severely and massively borked the draft.
Right, so like you're like, let's trade. It's not a trade.
Okay.
So that leaves up Nocturne and Zoe. Well, the thing is about Nocturne is he's still better than Zoe, and he actually works against her in a lot of ways. So that's not a trade either. You'll take the Nocturne every time. So then you're forced to ban both of them, and then from there, you can start actually playing the game. So red side has one ban.
You're welcome, chat. Today we learn.
Yeah.
As we get back into how this particular champion select is updating, it's Morgana, Swain, and Dr. Mundo on the side of TSM Academy, while Clutch Gaming gets themselves the Gragas and the Rise.
Starting to go back for comfort after one day of play, I guess. Maybe a little premature to say that, but things that worked for them yesterday.
If it ain't broke, why fix it?
Exactly.
Taking up Gnar against Dr. Mundo as well. This is one of those picks that finally stops Mundo from going where he pleases.
Yeah, and this is kind of what we were talking about a little bit earlier in the day, where usually until the last rotation, blue side will take the Mundo and eat the counter pick, because if they don't, red side takes Mundo and double bans counter picks against it.
Yeah.
So you kind of are like, all right, take your pick. Do you want the Darius? Do you want the Gnar? Do you want the GP? But we're getting Mundo out of it, so are we really too broken up about it?
Well, TSM seems to be okay with that trade this time around, as Trundle is banned away by Clutch. TSM decides to bench the Kinch.
It's a little surprising to see the Trundle banned away by themselves. I guess that might tip the hand at the Gragas being in the jungle, but maybe not, because you would think that you want the Trundle for the Mundo, but they banned it themselves. So we'll see. Maybe they just don't want to give up Trundle and Mundo together, because then you're getting the best frontline jungler and the best frontline top laner, and maybe that's just too oppressive.
Speaking of more frontline, Sejuani, she's out of there. Keep gaming, says no.
Yeah, keep banning junglers. It's potentially mismatched right now, so you can, or you can grab another jungler too if you want to. Put the Gragas top. They have a lot of options, so I don't think. Oh, the Gragas can't go top. What am I saying? Gnar's already locked in.
Yeah.
If I ever do that again, just cut me off, slap me.
I was just. It's game 5. I wanted you to be a free spirit.
Nah, dude.
I wasn't gonna do that to you. Come on.
Slap some sense into me.
We will see Fiddlesticks be the final champion that is slapped right off the board in the ban phase this game, as Alistar is locked in for Clutch Gaming. We got some initiation potential to go with the initiation potential along with their initiation potential.
You never have too many go buttons.
Nope.
You know, like that in Mario Kart, you get the 3 mushrooms.
Yeah.
You can space them all out.
All of them. No. You just chug them all at once.
Yeah, you don't space them out.
Yeah, what are you doing? You got another power up to collect. What if the next box pops up right in front of you?
You always treat it like the golden one that you can just mash.
Yeah. Just.
Yeah.
I'm glad someone else knows how to play the game, Mark. As TSM will pick up Graves and Lulu for themselves. We already got to see Lulu once today. We'll see her again now.
That's a pretty gnarly mid-game team comp out of TSM there.
That better not be a pun.
No, that wasn't.
Okay, good.
I'm too bad with puns. I walk into more puns than I do intentionally. Like if I make a pun, it is more likely that was unintentional.
That actually does bring me a feeling of relief. My desk is right next to Freaks.
That's painful. That's.
I have
how
to
many
make
days
sure
are you in the office?
I have to make sure that this desk is sacred. The final pick on the side of Clutch Gaming Academy in this particular matchup will be the Kled in the mid lane. That one is going to be played by Sun. We already saw him play that during yesterday's doubleheader, and the man went, I believe the final scoreline, 4-0 and 12. Yeah.
That's a good scoreline.
It's a damn good scoreline.
So what's weird to me with this draft is you pick all basically low-range engage tools into a Swain, Graves, Mundo, Lulu, Morgana. That feels like a team comp that's very happy to catch you with open arms as you fail to kill anyone, and they just sustain through everything that you're trying to do. So it feels like one of those games where if TSM Academy get ahead, Clutch Gaming's comp does nothing against it, and if Clutch Gaming are able to make some plays in the early laning phase, the defensive tools of TSM are not enough, and they kind of get run over.
Getting a feeling of deja vu from something we saw earlier today where a team needed to get ahead early and it didn't happen. We'll see if we've actually been in that place before, Mark.
Yeah, maybe this plays out a little different than what I'm seeing, but I'm just imagining Rise ult, Kled ult, or something on top of what you think is a Swain caught out of position. He pops his ult, he Zonias, a Lulu shows up, and
all of a sudden he's not out of position, is he?
Yeah, suddenly he's exactly where he wants to be. As we see the sweeper level 1 by Graves. Something people do a little bit on champions that like to invade more often. So now Graves can potentially walk into Raptors and not have to worry about getting spotted on the way in.
Minions have spawned.
Whenever I play flex queue, one of the conditions that I tell everyone on my team is every game we have to zoo invade level 1. You call it a zoo invade because you're a bunch of wild animals on the loose just running through the jungle. Somebody has to die at level 1, it's the rule. And somebody needs to take sweeper if you're going to zoo invade.
Do you ever, is like a zoo invade always in the same spot, or can
No, you can do it any way you want, but all 5 people got to be committed. Like you 4x report the guy who AFKs if somebody AFKs.
Is this like you, doesn't matter champs?
Doesn't matter what you play. Like
Okay.
we've literally done it with no CC. It doesn't matter, it's just a zoo invade.
How'd that one go?
It's really bad. What do you how do you think it went? It's terrible.
Alright, just wondering.
We had no CC.
Just asking me.
Everybody knew the zoo invade was happening before we started playing the game. It's their fault for not picking stuff with CC. Back to this game, though, we will not see any invades at level 1. We will not see any sort of early cheeky, cheesy action. Instead, it's a couple wards placed down right at the entrance to the jungle on the side of Clutch Gaming as TSM will just go about farming up the lanes, doing everything pretty standard. Mike Young heading into the top side Scuttle Crab.
He's going to grab this one away for himself as Gragas makes his way to the bottom Scuttle Crab. And it's a pretty cool team comp on the side of Clutch Gaming, something you never would have been able to see in any other meta, with a Rise in the bot lane, 2 physical damage bruisers in the solo lanes, and an AP jungler. Just so cool to see what this meta allows you to do. I personally love it. Also, there's no funnel.
No funnel.
It's still technically possible. This is not the patch that's been killed, but it feels like teams have kind of given up on the funnel potentially with its impending doom.
Yep.
So even though it's still fine in the current meta, people are like, well, I don't really want to practice it. Yeah.
Let it go quietly. There's no need for you to be here anymore, Mr. Funnel. You can be on your way. As TSM going up against Clutch Gaming in this match. Remember, this is one of the teams that was really doing poorly for themselves before coming into that doubleheader yesterday. Managed to find the 2-0, double their amount of wins for the split in a single day.
Heyo.
And now looks like a team that has a chance to catch up to everybody else in this middle of the pack territory.
And they were, you know, hard-fought games, all things considered, but they did grab the 2-0. And you just want to see that momentum continue here. I like their team comp a lot, but they do have a lot to prove. There's a lot of people that at one point or another had a ton of promise on the side of TSM. Mike Young was getting hyped up, AblazeAlive was getting hyped up, MrRallez was hyped up, Shady was hyped up, and it just feels like they never quite came together.
Now AblazeAlive could be in some trouble as Sun goes in for this play, only to find himself now caught in a 2 versus 2. Mike Young putting a lot of damage down onto that Kled, forces him away from Skarl, and TSM comes out on top in that trade.
Ooh. Okay.
MrRallez flashing away from Piglet there, didn't want anything to do with that one.
A very aggressive play by Clutch Gaming's bot lane, threatening an all-in as soon as they see where the junglers are, and MrRallez actually respecting it, saying, I don't want a piece of that.
Being like, absolutely not. Nothing to do with this Alistar and Ryze combination. That is not my cup of tea. Just wants to farm up. Just wants to get to the point where he can be that big drain tank in the middle of the fight. Now I'm trying to remember the words that you used last time to describe the Swain old Aatrox, like Mundo combination.
Something.
Yeah,
it was
drain tank, meatball, regen, health.
something calm.
Something, yeah, I don't know. There's something in there. It was a big word spaghetti, but I liked it.
I remember a little bit of it.
It was good. We do have a couple of those types of champions in this game, so.
There's a fair amount. The Swain and the Mundo being together was pretty important. Unfortunately, no Aatrox.
For all you people watching at home, we are also on Executioner's Calling Watch again this game, considering both Mundo and Swain are going to be healing. I want to see when the Grievous Wounds applicators come online for Clutch Gaming.
Taking the bot lane first, though.
Mike Young showing up with the smoke screen, coming in. Nice, manages to flash onto the other side of the wall to make sure he gets the end of the line. Early explosion to find the damage down there. That's 1 for 0 going the way of TSM.
Good play by TSM, punishing the aggressive flash by Piglet earlier on in the game. That's going to cost him his life as Vulcan was not able to peel him. The nice flash, like you were saying, by Mike Young. He had the black shield on him, I believe, anyway, so he might have been able to just run through it. But flashing over the headbutt was pretty smooth looking overall as well.
Mike Young's one of those players, too, that when he had his introduction and people were initially so hype on him, he was playing stuff like Nidalee. He was playing these carries from the jungle, not something more tanky. So I love seeing him on a pick like the Graves so he can make plays like this.
Absolutely. A good, strong, fast jungler who can fight early on. Just watch this headbutt come in. Oh, no headbutt at all. I'm tripping.
Doesn't matter, Mike Young's not. Didn't trip over a thing, just smooth glided right in there onto the other side of his opponents. Shot him up. As we'll see him make a return to the bottom lane with that water cannon yet again. Morgana land the binding, Shady hits it. There comes the cleanse to get Piglet away, but he's not getting away anywhere except right back to the spawn platform. 2 for 0. TSM.
This is really tough for the bot lane for Clutch Gaming. This is kind of why you often don't see people try and flash initiate a play with their carry champion against another champion that full HP would flash up. Because if it whiffs and then the enemy team punishes you, you're a very sad boy.
Mega sad boy here for Piglet on the rise, who now finds himself falling behind in farm. Also, little known fact, when you're dead, you don't get to cast spells. So every single time he's dead, tier stacking. Gonna just be that much later.
Where on the list is that your concern when you're dying multiple times in laning phase? Because it's probably below the enemy getting gold. Probably below you not getting gold.
I don't have mana
and
now, I'm sad.
It's probably below you being behind next.
The only tiers are the real ones.
I'm much more concerned about a level 6 Swain to my level 4 Rise than being down 50 mana.
But when that level 6 Swain runs at me and I blow up, you know what? All I have to do is when I'm dead, hover over the tooltip of my tier. And when it says 49 out of 750, I'm sad.
That's a definite feels bad, man.
Yeah. At least if the tier was stacked, I could sit there and be like, all right, it's going to transform soon. We'll be back. It's all okay. No, not in a situation like that. Piglet's got some recovering to do, and MrRallez and Shady have to be feeling fantastic after those first couple of ganks from Mike Young, who's got that full kill participation, got himself his skirmisher saber, working towards the warrior, and I want to see if he can keep this tempo up, keep flexing these muscles.
Yeah, we're talking about how this is going to impact the game later on as well. MrRallez getting fed early, Graves getting fed early. Bodes very well for their team comp. Blaze Olive on the Lulu can slot in as the supportive mage, just buffing one of those two guys up so they can run around like mad. Here's another all-in.
Oh, that's so dirty. You need a mop and bucket to clean it up. Oh, MrRallez gets the final little bit of damage, and Piglet goes down for the 3rd time. TSM Academy trying to get some more, but it doesn't look like they're in any spot to do it. Moon shows up, takes a swig out of the Gatorade bucket, has to walk away. There's nothing he can do.
This is a definite feels bad, man.
Yes. This is one of those games that it just feels like a slippery slope, and there's no way you can even try to get your footing back if you're the bottom lane from Clutch Gaming.
Right, and I think that's kind of what they were hoping to be a pretty standard lane, so maybe Moon could focus on the top lane a little bit more. But now you're in the situation where if you go top, you're sacking your bot lane completely, but your bot lane's also too weak to cover. So as long as TSM are in a position to react to what Clutch Gaming does, they don't really have a great avenue to make a play happen here. It feels like a 3-man play up on the top side with the Kled ult is probably their go-to move at this point. But they need to pull the trigger on that soon because the bot lane turret will drop, and then they'll be in a lot of trouble. Piecake Lord knows that's what he has to be worried about, and so he's on
Wanted to check for Scuttler. Moon will be zoned away here in the jungle. Mike Young senses something's going on. MrRallez getting some good damage down. Just the amount of CC from that never move into the binding is now a Blaze Olive. Has to flash away. Moon tries to make the move onto him. It's flash for flash. Jungler for mid laner. A Blaze Olive also popping the cleanse there.
Yeah, both teams feel like in a similar mindset to what I was just talking about, feeling a play has to come up to the top side. TSM were trying to read it and counteract it, but Clutch Gaming was a step ahead, knowing that TSM would try and counter that play, actually just go for the pickoff in rotation instead. Unfortunately, can't find the kill just to trade a summoners, but both teams clearly thinking about what the other team wants to do.
Piecake Lord and Mike Young deciding to try to put some damage into Max Trobo, but Gnar is so slippery to try to catch on to if you don't have some sort of better collapse than just walking at him, so Max Trobo's not too worried about that one. Sun in the mid lane on this Kled. Remember, amazing numbers put up yesterday. Absolutely amazing, 4-0 and 12 on this pick. Not getting involved in anything just yet, but I'm now having the same difficulty you were having in Champion Select, Mark. where I'm imagining, okay, Kled goes colliding, charging into the fight. Who does he jump onto and insta-gib? And the answer is nobody.
Yeah, like Graves will be the squishiest member on your team, who is a notoriously tanky marksman, who was then buffed up by a Lulu. Maybe you go on the Lulu and you can kill her before she gets her stuff off, but they don't really have interrupts or anything. It's kind of on Vulcan to be the setup instead of Sun, because if Sun goes in first, I think he just gets disengaged. So on the side of Clutch Gaming, they have a very tall task ahead of them as a basically all short range / melee range team comp against a Swain Lulu Graves Mundo Morgana.
That's a hard hand to be dealt, and when you look at the farm too, it's advantage TSM in mid lane and bottom lane.
There they go.
Even, but there comes your charge into the mid lane. They're looking to go onto a Blaze Olive here, but the Black Shield plus the Wild Growth means there's no way to do anything. They pulled the trigger, but TSM's wearing a bulletproof vest. It doesn't even matter. You can't make anything happen with that much defensive capability ready to go when they're all in the right spot.
Exactly, and that's, you know, before the ridiculously ahead Swain comes into play as well. So that was a good attempt in terms of a 3v3 that's not super influenced by the bot lane shenanigans yet, as Shady wants a piece of this.
Speaking of shenanigans, Vulcan gets himself away thanks to the power of the Rise ultimate. Top side is Moon and Max Trobo looking to make the dive on a Pie Cake Lord. Look at that little symbol above his head. It's Grievous Wounds. Executioner's Calling has been picked up early on for Max Trobo. It's not quite enough to secure the kill for this team, and MrRallez makes the TP up here to try to protect the turret.
It does have his ultimate available, does have a stopwatch available, so MrRallez could potentially try and hold this turret, but he's a little scared about where the mid laner is. He sees a minion wave going into mid and no one there. As a result, though, TSM react very well with Mike Young rotating down to the bot lane to work as the bot lane marksman, and he brought a friend in Shelly.
There we go, Mike Young making sure TSM gets the turret first blood for themselves. That extra gold is going to make sure they maintain that 2,000 gold lead that they've had so far in this game, as Clutch Gaming will also pick up their first turret in the top lane. Shelly will not get the second charge off. Good to see Clutch Gaming have the awareness to make sure that next charge doesn't take a big chunk out of the tier 2.
Good job by them. Mike Young instantly moves down to grab the dragon, and they're back mostly to standard lanes. We'll have to see if TSM want to flip their bot lane up to the top side and start working down that turret after they grab this dragon. I don't think you want to leave Max Trobo in a 1v1 versus Pie Cake Lord, who has done a decent job of only falling 20 CS behind with no health, which is pretty fine for the Mundo side, especially if your bot lane is winning. Hopefully you can just keep farming on up.
Pie Cake Lord will continue that farm as time goes on. Not too worried about it right now. Mundo just wants to be a big meatball. As long as we get him to that point, we're fine, is TSM's idea. Moon moving through his own jungle, has the Runic Echoes completed. You can say the same thing for Mike Young and his Warrior. Mike, though, 1-0-1, does have the Berserker's Greaves fully completed. Pickaxe in the inventory here as well. Going to be very strong on this Graves once we get into these big fights, having plenty of burst potential for anybody unlucky enough to find themselves caught in it.
Yeah, not much tankiness on the side of Clutch Gaming. All of them are going bruiser items of some kind. So you got the Black Cleaver, the Titanic Hydra will be coming in for Sun. Piglet is so far behind, he's not even begun on his tanky mage items. And Gragas starts with the Runic Echoes before going tanky. So, yeah, that's not a ton of tankiness.
That's a lot of vulnerability to something like a Graves, especially if he's enchanted with the Wild Growth and the Black Shield from the Morgana and the Lulu. Moon will grab the Scuttle Crab in the top side there for himself. Still only a 3-0 game. Mike Young will be spotted out by the Scryer's Rune as he moves through his own jungle to continue clearing away these camps. With Shelly dead and Drake not available yet, there's not anything neutral to fight over, so we're kind of just watching Clutch Gaming move around, set down some vision, try to find the opportunity to maybe make something happen, but TSM's putting a lot of bodies here in the mid lane mark.
And I like this a lot because Pie Cake Lord dropped a ward onto the blue buff, so they knew what it was Clutch Gaming was trying to do, and instead of trying to fight over the blue buff, they just kind of pushed mid instead. Didn't actually convert that into as much of a siege as I thought they were going to go for, so didn't get quite anything done. Good invade by Clutch to get that blue buff.
They'll walk away with that small prize for themselves, but they've still got to figure out a way to deal with this compositional mismatch. They've still got to figure out a way to get in there separate somebody. Maybe it's a Gragas cast that's going to make it happen. But right now, Moon's walking over a couple of different wards as he moves into enemy territory. Piecake Lord is aware that something funny's going on. It's a 4-man play in the top lane from Clutch Gaming Academy. Max Trobo jumps forward looking to maybe find the Mega Gnar, but that's not going to happen today. As Piecake Lord decides it's time to go in. Max Trobo dropping very low, and Piecake Lord says, "Get out of my lane."
Big turnaround there as we get the solo kill while the rest of the team is pressuring. Like you said, they saw wards, knew it was coming, so he knew also when he was safe. Not only when he's in danger, but when he can actually flip the switch and try and kill Max Trobo, who just went mini-gnar and was not respecting the all-in that Mundo can get against squishy members if they are not ready for it.
I mean, you're in this lane that you naturally win. You've had your teammates hovering around, making it so your opponent's always got a second guess. And then that one time where you are vulnerable, if you fail to show that respect, this happens.
Yeah, so he sees Vulcan and Moon back off. He landed a little bit of cleavers onto Max Trobo, and then he allows Piecake Lord to get into melee range, and he's just getting these E's on him. Doesn't actually land a cleaver until that one there. The rest was all auto attack and W damage, I believe. So you get to see what Mundo can do against someone. He has a lot of physical damage in that E steroid that he gets.
It gives a ton of AD. It's like not 300, it's like 200 if it's maxed. It's really a lot.
At level 12, you have a couple points in it, I think, so you'll have a lot of damage.
Oh, he's only got one.
W, man.
Oh, okay.
So he just stood on him.
Second. Yeah, okay, yeah, he just stood on him, and the fire spun in circles, and Nar was like, get me out. Tier 1 turret, almost taken down. TSM will grab that one. Clutch Gaming not there in time to defend that, force the wave away before TSM can knock it over. And that means about a 3,000 gold lead here for TSM. Bit by bit, step by step, making their way towards that 3-0 weekend. That means in one weekend, they will have had more wins than they had in the first four weekends put together.
And one of those was also a super week, quote unquote.
Yes.
Big turnaround by TSM is what we're saying. As Piecake Lord, despite getting that solo kill, is in a little bit of pressure. Can't get too overzealous with that one good play.
Yeah, that's the important thing, right? Because we talked about Max Trobo. You can't get too overconfident on, hey, I've got the counter pick, hey, I've got my team hanging around, because then you end up not respecting the Mundo and you get solo killed. Same thing for the Mundo. You can't be, oh, I solo killed Gnar once. Mundo will now go where he pleases. You're still up against Gnar. Piglet has to pop the ulti on the rise to get himself away there. And he just continues not having a great game. I mean, he's farming well, but he has to use the ultimate to get away or to save his teammate. He's already died 3 times.
Did Airy go all the way back to base?
I don't know.
The Morgana W proc, but it was on like the last second of the recall.
Airy probably chased him then.
That's crazy. Anyways, to your point, yeah, Piglet's really struggling. And we were talking about him being the guy who was doing a great job with this team's 2-0 yesterday, being kind of the leader. He was a 7-1 Ezreal game and had a more balanced Rise game with the rest of the team stepping up as well. But when he falls this far behind early on, you got to wonder what it does to the mentality of Clutch. I think they've done a good job of trying to play to the top side, but it's been completely thwarted by the side of TSM. Yeah, they got one turret, but then he backed off the next couple of times and got a solo kill for himself. So I imagine that on the side of Clutch, morale is pretty low.
Lots of bursts coming out there very quickly from Mike Young. Dash, auto, Q, and all of a sudden, Piglet's health just evaporates in front of his very eyes. And now with only around half remaining, he's not in any condition to contest this Drake. This Drake isn't a super high value one for this point in the game either. So Clutch Gaming just say, all right, concede that. No reason to fight for it. Mike Young and TSM will pick up yet another objective.
Good job by them. Piglet does get his tier transformation 19.5-ish minutes into the game.
If he wasn't dead 3 times, would have had it 19-ish. Would have been there. Doesn't make any difference whatsoever, but I've got to stick to my guns.
I feel you. Get this cleanse out of Piglet. Good binding by Shady.
Unavailable, but Flash still ready and raring to go if he needs to get away from this potential TSM playmaking. We'll see Shady still just hang around here. Make sure he's always shadowing MrRallez. As long as he's within black shield range, how are you even going to engage from the side of Clutch Game?
Definitely, and I think one thing you got to say about TSM that's a little critical is despite the explosive early game on the bot side and the fact that Piecake Lord was doing a good job surviving on the top side, the game hasn't been very good. fast.
No, it's completely stalled out.
The fact that Piecake Lord was even still on the top side to risk getting dove previously is a bit of a strange occurrence to me, because you've taken the bot lane turret, you took the dragon. Why did you not flip your bot lane up to the top side to start working down on that turret with the advantage that your bot lane has? They chose not to do that, and they're finally starting to put people up there, but it's the Lulu of all people, while the Swain sits in the mid lane as their strongest member.
Yeah, it feels like one of those games where the team is ahead, they're doing well, but they're not making a proactive choice to win the game more. It's simply, we'll get to the point where we'll beat them because we believe that we're good enough to beat them.
That, or they don't know what to do. It's hard to say which of the two, yeah. Because the thing is, like, we talk about Max Trobo getting the getting solo kill and how bad that was. He's not quite winning over Piecake Lord as hard as he was before, but he still is the one pushing up the lane. Looks like he's going for a Black Cleaver next to make sure he can keep that pressure up. And then if
Black Cleaver.
I mean, excuse me, Blade of the Rune.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, wait.
No, you're right. I am dumb.
I'm pretty sure that thing's right there. You said I had to call you out the next time you said something that made me thinking emoji.
Yeah, that was good. Mike Young wants a piece of Max Turbo too.
Piecake Lord continuing to just apply these briefcases.
Oh!
Okay. Okay, I thought for sure we were going to get to see some more fancy feet. Some more like what we got to see with the Fiddlesticks previously, but not this time around. Max Trobo almost does it, but flash auto attack is just a bit too strong.
Yep, good outplay there by Piecake Lord, excuse me, make sure he gets that kill. I didn't know who to call.
I didn't know if you were going to say good outplay there from Max Trobo for forcing his opponent to use the flash, or if you were going to sarcastically say good outplay from Piecake Lord for flash autoing on Mundo.
I was debating who to say good outplay from. Here they go down the mid lane. They want a piece of MrRallez.
Black Shield gets popped. MrRallez gets knocked backwards, goes right into the ulti form, and gets completely deleted before he's able to even pop the stopwatch. I guess there's your answer. If that is how much damage in CC you need to have on the guy to juggle him around like that and burst him down, Clutch can make it happen.
And I guess that's why you're like, I'm glad they put Lulu in the side lane if I'm Clutch, because he has no way of getting involved in that fight. Doesn't have the TP unlike MrRallez, so when they go for a big engage in the mid lane, Lulu is stuck in the side lane just farming away. Good opportunity by Clutch Gaming there to punish while TSM was in the side lanes, but I think TSM has to look at these lane assignments and figure out what's actually best for them from here on.
Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme. What'd you get after the kill? For Clutch Gaming, you didn't. You got 300 gold, you got the kill, but they weren't able to find more off of it. It didn't lead to anything. So while it is good for this team to see, hey, we made that happen, we have the damage potential, these plays can work. Now the next step is, how do we set this up? How do we prime the map so that next time we do that, we have a payday?
It's going to be tough because they don't really have control of the mid lane. They were able to pick off MrRallez because he was a little bit far up, but they are stronger, and that is why MrRallez was further up. So it's one of those things where you kill him once, get some vision control back, maybe you can find another pick off, and that's when you can start converting into objectives. Or maybe they can try and move down to Max Trobo. Baron is up, so it's a little bit late to start really indexing towards your split pusher. They tried it early, they didn't find any advantages, and now it's kind of like, well, you're on the island alone. We did what we could.
Have fun. He'll get very familiar with the side of that turret. Sun blasts himself over the red wall with the help of the blast cone, as topside of Blaze Olive and Mike Young will make sure that that top lane tier 1 does not stand much longer. Piecake Lord just wants to try to remove as many of these minions as he can, so to make sure the red buff doesn't get stolen away. But Mike Young has no intentions of stopping this topside push just yet. He wants to apply pressure to this tier 2. Shady comes down these guys from behind. Mike decides not to stick around any longer, but here we go. Mike Young flashes back. He gets the wild growth, though. He's ready to go right back into the front lines. Dashes back after getting hit by the cask. Plenty of ultimates used from both sides.
It's a 1 HP
here,
turret.
I believe. Turret just about to die. TSM not too worried about it. Piecake Lord joined this fight. Max Trobo is being left alone on the bottom part of the map. TSM did grab the tier 2 in the top side for it, but now they want to send that Mundo back. Make sure that they don't yield their own tier 2 as a result.
Good play by Clutch to back off once they did that. Not sure if they should have TP'd in as well and tried to take the 5v5. Would have been a tough fight. Instead, they go for the safer play and just kind of split the map once again while generating a TP advantage for themselves, as they also got the TP out of MrRallez on that play. And good recognition to know, hey, wait, even though this TP is up, it's going to die to one auto attack. Don't sit under here and try and wave clear. and they backed off before it dropped.
A Blaze Olive on this Lulu. Still 0, 0, and 0. The only person in the game to seemingly have not participated in the game. We have seen plays come out of him. We have seen denials. I guess I wish we had a fourth category for kills denied, because he has been a part of making sure his teammates don't get picked off in terms of providing the shields and the wild growths. But having not died himself and not contributed when the team has picked up any of those 5 kills, he's been a little hands-off.
Definitely fair to say that TSM is not playing this game as fast or aggressively as they could be, and that is reflective of a Blaze Olive scoreline. If they were 5-manning around the map and trying to force objectives, I'm sure he would have been involved in the kill at this point, but they're splitting the map. He's been stuck in a side lane as Lulu with no TP, no one trying to kill him, so he's not doing very much. Every time he goes up to the top lane here, he ends up a higher and higher level. He's the highest level in the game, tied with the split-pushing solo laners in the top lane, now in the bot lane, but you know, he hasn't been able to use that really at all.
And the game has gone on so long at this point, we're starting to see those bigger 2-item power spikes. Mundo has the Warmogs ready to go, can regenerate all that health without needing to use the ultimate. Blade of the Ruined King completed for Max Trobo means he is a Mundo killer. Storm Razor for Graves is big damage. You've got the Titanic Hydra Black Cleaver 2-item power spike on the Kled as well. While Lulu, Zhonya's Hourglass, Luden's Echo, there's playmaking tools there.
Yeah, there's a lot of playmaking tools on both sides, and since then, Clutch has been the one to pull the trigger every time. They tried to play mid, they killed MrRallez, they tried to play top, which everyone backed off of and bought time for Max Strobo to split push. And I have yet to see TSM decide to do something. They don't have great tools to force, quite like, oh, we have a Kled button or an Alistar flash engage, but they still aren't even in position to be forcing something if they wanted to.
MrRallez thinking about Piglet here, throws out the never move, but won't quite find him. They're returning some damage. Wow, wow, Shady, that's a lot of damage. MrRallez wants to continue to go forward. Piglet's going to be in some trouble. Yoink right back, and MrRallez grabs the kill on that one. 0, 4, and 1 now for Piglet as MrRallez goes up to 2, 1, and 2, and TSM sees their chance to go for the push.
Piglet was not ready for that damage. He had Seraphs up and died without using it. Absolutely blown up. And with that, TSM finally have the opportunity to start pushing a turret. But once again, Max Strobo is on his little island, split pushing away, and they also broke Kled off to the top side, and he's split pushing as well.
TSM are forced to yield the bottom lane tier 2. They will be forced to yield the top lane tier 2 as well, but they at least find the mid lane second turret for themselves. However, Clutch do come out on top in terms of the objective trade that's up.
Yeah, I think despite all that, you're not too upset as Clutch. You would love to start getting that mid lane turret down a little bit, but for now,
yeah,
you know, the gold lead continues to sit right between 2 and 3K. Take a look at this Piglet play. Gets a big chunk with this bounce onto Shady, dropping him down to below half HP and kind of makes him braver than he should have been. And he gets the pullback from the knockup on the ult onto Mike Young. And so I don't think he would have gone through that ultimate even if he did drop his Seraph to survive because he was in CC.
Very difficult to get out of the 4-man collapse like that. And honestly, Piglet needs to avoid those kinds of situations in the future, recognize the danger as Piecake Lord is not respecting the damage potential coming out of Clutch Gaming here. Wants to get himself over the wall with the Blast Cone and avoids the charge.
Dangerous situation there from Piecake Lord, but good job trusting he can get out of there without having to use any summoners. Does just that. And heals right back up to full.
TSM Academy have continued to maintain the exact same level of control over this game for about 20 minutes now, Mark.
Which is not impressive with a 3K gold lead about 10 minutes into the game.
No, it's not. That's exactly what I wanted to get to. You can say, yes, for a team that had 2 wins before coming into this weekend, the team has had a lead for 30 minutes in the game now. The problem is that lead is so stagnant, and now they're looking to change that. They're wanting to burn down the Baron. They've got it down to 2,500. Mike Young continuing to apply the auto attacks. They're thinking about this. They decide to let it reset. They don't want to go for the 50-50. They know that's a potential loss condition, and they're not willing to risk it.
I'm glad that TSM tried to force the Baron.
Yep.
Try and get something going for themselves. Good decision not to commit to it, though, as the execution was way off. There's a pink ward in the pit. All of Clutch Gaming had Raptor on the side. They did get the TP out of Max Strobo, generating themselves a TP advantage. So a small pro to that play. So good job by TSM Academy, all things considered.
But now, how long before they go back and try it again?
Hopefully,
minutes?
hopefully like a minute.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, go back, shop, and then get vision control and do it again.
They did get very close to having that Baron within smiteable range. It was down to about 1,700. They did not want to risk that steal, though, and I completely understand that. If Clutch Gaming managed to steal that Baron away, and then even if you trade one person for it, throw Moon into the pit, he's the sacrificial Gragas, he grabs the Baron, the game could shift on its head very quick.
Especially with how much Max Strobo and Sun have been splitting.
Yeah.
If they get a Baron buff now, suddenly that split push goes from a nuisance to a game ender. And you don't really want to risk that at all. Moon was over the wall, they had a pink ward in the pit. It still would have been difficult to steal, but you've been winning this entire game. Don't throw it away there.
Right, when you think about League of Legends, you think about win conditions, you don't think about just yours, you want to imagine theirs as well. And for Clutch Gaming in a situation like that, one of the biggest win conditions you have is TSM throw at Baron. So if you're TSM, don't throw at Baron.
Is that a win condition or lose condition?
It's
Everybody got a
win
lose condition at Baron.
Yeah, everybody got a lose condition. That's the way that buff works. Cake Lord gonna get himself jumped on. Mike Young shows up to make sure it's full on 2 versus 2. Looking to burst down Sun first. The bullets continue coming in, and Mike Young takes him down as Max Strobo has to head for the hills, having lost his ally.
Once again, TSM working more as a punisher of over-aggressive plays on Clutch Gaming than finding their own. Clutch Gaming have a lot of map mobility, and they try and find someone in the side lane for an advantage, but it's taken so long. All the TPs are back available, so MrRallez is able to collapse, as well as the fact that Mike Young was already sniffing that one out in the brush, so good nose on him to know that was coming. They find the trade kill back, but they don't really look for Baron trying to get too aggressive. They just take their small incremental advantage, grabbing their 4th elemental Drake of the game.
We're 32 minutes in now. Elder Drake's next.
Elder Drake is next, and here we go. They start trying to collapse on Cake Lord. The TP comes in from MrRallez. At this point, you know it's doomed. Moon wants to ult it. Looks like he gets it off, actually, and stops the TP from coming in. But as you see, fight's already over. You lost one man.
It didn't matter.
And
I like the fact that they just immediately focused the Kled as well. They weren't like, oh, it's Mininar, you just kill Mininar first to be squishier. They just utilized that exact plan that you were talking about way back in Champion Select, Mark. Hey, they're going to run at us. Just kill whichever guy comes at us first and we'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, all of them in some sense have some annoying survival mechanics. Kled can get the remount. Mininar can transform. So pick one, kill him, then pick your next one. Don't try and AoE all of them down.
Yeah, never split it up. As long as everyone's on the same page, which TSM was in the bottom lane, you can manage to find those kills. But I'm going to sing the same song now that I did before. What did you get for it? And the answer is not much.
Here we go. They're kind of on the Baron. I don't know why Shady bound the Baron while Mike Young was just, well, there they go, I guess. Starting off the Baron.
Cake Lord clearing away some of these wards. He wants to play Interrupter against Moon and the rest of Clutch Gaming, keeping these guys away as TSM take the Baron down below half. Cake Lord losing a lot of HP here. Has popped the ultimate, keeping himself healthy. Baron now going to be below 4K. Smite available on both junglers. Baron down below 3K. MrRallez continuing to throw out damage. Baron going to be allowed to reset once more. Clutch Gaming have the health advantage for the time being.
Not bad by TSM Academy, trying to wait out Max Strobo's Meganar form, and now they're going to go right back to the Baron. Very intelligent play. Make sure that they can't take the team fight. Now you can look for a turn-off, actually, and hope to win this team fight because you did not use any resources in that previous one.
Cake Lord going to be leading the charge right there on the front line, throwing out the briefcases. TSM returning to Baron now yet again. Continuing to burn this one low. Moon at half HP, still has Smite available, wants to go over the wall for this 50-50. This could make or break the entirety of the game, Mark. Into the fight goes Vulcan, looking to start this one off. It's MrRallez on the front line, goes Golden, immediately keeping himself alive. Wild Growth going to continue doing just that. A double kill for Mike Young as he continues blasting everybody from Clutch Gaming. And this will be the ace for TSM.
Well played by TSM. Like I said, wait out the Meganar so they lose one of their main frontline engage tools and then eventually find the turnoff. A nice route by MrRallez, I believe, is kind of what set them up to be able to charge through the rest of that fight. And then once you find your first kill, what does Clutch Gaming have to really disengage? It's all engage. You saw Vulcan try and go in and disrupt that engage, but enough people got through him to find the back line. They kill everybody. They might be going for the game right now.
I'm pretty sure they are. That's why they just abandoned the Baron. They said, we don't need this. We'll just win the game. It's only Vulcan that can come back alive and try to stop us. They'll continue pushing up. They've got Pie Cake Lord to tank the turrets, keep the minions alive to the back door, protect
Take one
them.
more kill.
And that should be as easy as it gets from one Baron fight to ending the game. We said they stagnated, but then as soon as they found their shot, it was pedal to the metal straight to the finish line.
Yeah, that was a impressive ending to the game, because as slow as it was before that, it was just that fast at the end. They find that one team fight. I like the way they played it a lot. They baited it out. They got people to collapse. They waited the Mega Gnar format before starting the Baron up again, and then they keep trading damage, You have all the extra shields. You have the Mundo regen. You don't need to be super worried about getting chunked out around the Baron, and then the slight mispositioning is when you finally get to go.
And that was the Mike Young that originally amazed everyone.
That Mike Young.
Back in the days of Phoenix 1. Yeah, the guy who would just carry the games and go off. Got a little bit of a highlight reel here for you.
Yeah, flashes over to get the Q damage instantly off the wall. Hit of it, gets that kill. Piglet still no flash. Nice binding by Shady to set this one up. Another kill for himself, and this is just all punishing some aggressive play by Piglet. And then here, good job sniffing out what it was that Clutch Gaming was going to look for. Dragon's spawning soon, and so he expects them to try and make some play down there. Sits in the brush, finds it, and then here, knowing that the enemy team is already routed, dashes in super aggressively to start cleaning up the back line while the rest of his team deals with the side of Clutch Gaming.
That's what you want to see out of Mike Young. TSM fans, that's what they want to see. Mike Young put on something that he can carry with, put on one of these junglers that fits his style.
What you don't want to see necessarily is
that
20 to 30 minute gold graph. Just
that gold graph looks really the same thing up until that very end spike.
And I think it's one of those things where they did a good job punishing Clutch. They weren't sure how to find their own plays until they felt confident and strong enough around Baron to force them to walk up. And I think it's the case where if they just look at their lane assignments, I have no idea why Lulu is in a side lane by herself. That's not really what she wants to be doing. You put the Swain up there, you make him stronger, you have him push up and threaten dives and things like that. Suddenly it's a totally different game. That's probably just one of those things where you're in the game, you're not exactly sure what you want to do. You have a Swain, put him mid, he has TP. Why not? Yeah. You got to look at it a little more critically, and maybe that was the case where they got stuck in that kind of pattern for a while until they were like, all right, now we're strong enough to force around Baron. Let's go do that. And then they can force Clutch to make mistakes.
And it's kind of funny to me how this issue that they had with building that lead and translating that into a win sort of parallels criticisms that people have had of the main TSM squad in the past of this is why they struggle when they get to bigger events, because they're used to playing a game where they don't have to press down hard on the gas pedal. They just wait it out until they feel comfortable. And when they go up against a team that is willing to push hard early, it's like, oh, wait, hold on, what? And right now, I feel like that's where I want to see improvement from this squad, is knowing here's where we go early without needing that much waiting time, that much prep time.
Yeah, if you get a 3-0 lead in the bot lane and you destroy the turret early on, you got to figure out how to accelerate the game. Yes, we were talking about how their comp was advantageous and probably could go late and win.
Yes.
But once you get the 3 kills gifted over, you're good to shift gears, dude. You got plenty of fuel in that tank.
Lot of room to work with, but it still was a good game coming out from TSM. They found the win swiftly after the Baron, and now with Week 5 complete, let's take a look at those standings. Cloud9 continues their dominance of first place, while CLG Academy moves up to tie Team Liquid in second. Then it's a 4-way tie at 4th place between our teams locked in the middle of the pack, none of which are actually Team Liquid. But with their win today, TSM is biting at their heels, just 1 game behind, with Echo Fox and Golden Guardians. They are rounding out things at the bottom.
Yeah, and TSM, as much as we were talking a little critically this game, are really figuring things out. The fact that they've gone 3-0 is very, very impressive. Heading to the second half of the round robin, they can easily make a push and actually reach the playoffs, because what we're always saying, the reason it's sometimes disappointing to watch them is because they have so much talent on that roster. We talk about how much potential there should be. It's just that it's never quite worked out. Well, hopefully this is the seedlings that will sprout into all that potential.
A beautiful growing garden of all sorts of plays and macro, micro machinations.
Get us out of here.
Yeah. With our Academy games complete, we can look ahead to this weekend's LCS matches. We kick off the weekend with a battle for first between Echo Fox and 100 Thieves. Then TSM takes on Optic Gaming ahead of Golden Guardians versus CLG, with FlyQuest and Clutch Gaming closing out the day.
Some very important matchups there. Cloud9, Team Liquid. We talk about how Cloud9 only has 2 or 3 more games that they can potentially lose. Tough matchup against Team Liquid there. That's going to be one that they can't afford to lose, but it's going to be very hard to win.
Those are the most exciting kinds of games, though. Those are the ones, I mean, hey, Cloud9 fans, everybody still remembers the reverse sweep. Sometimes all you need is an impossible situation to make the impossible possible. We'll see if that works out for them tomorrow. But if you're itching for some more league action right this second, don't you worry, because the EU rebroadcast is coming right up after this. Check out this morning's games and then tune into the live Day 2 broadcast tomorrow morning, starting with pregame lobby at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 3:30 Central European. Now for myself, Mark, and the entire Academy crew, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for more of the NA Academy Week.